right? So let me see here. Speak of you. How does everybody feel about that? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Go ahead and just say it. How do you feel? Nervous? Don't kick me as nervous, Renee. And that's okay. It's all good. You're allowed to be nervous, right? It's different. And then got a thumbs up from Amanda. Cool. Excited from Aaron and Devin. Aaron was in here too. Greg, well, Roxanne is excited. Cool. Also nervous and excited. Yeah, cool. And hey, it's something different, right? So when we're doing something different, we tend to get nervous and scared, and that's completely fine, right? But just remember that this is your juice cleanse, right? So I invite you to remember your why. So in the group, it's going to be way down there because things get sort of lost in like the news feed, that whole part. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to find it. I'm going to put a comment in it so that it's going to pop right back up to the top. And all it was a simple question is, what is your why? Why are you doing this juice cleanse essentially? Okay. So stick that in there because it's really neat to read other people's whys as well, but it's just really neat to figure out why you're doing it, you know? Is anybody who is here tonight, does anybody want to share their why? Not on camera. Oh, Leah, you're muted. It looks like you're talking to us, but you're muted.
Just to get back on track. It's been a long go.
Been a long go. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's okay. That's awesome. And then can I read yours, Tanya? If you kind of shake your head, that's okay. Yeah. Okay. So Tanya says she's unsure, really. Honestly, I don't really know why I'm doing it. Just because, I guess. And well, hey, that's a why. Just because, I don't know. So there's something about it that essentially drew you to it, right? So maybe while you're on the journey, you'll kind of figure out why you're doing it. And that's cool. That's totally awesome. So first off, before we begin, I'm going to talk a little bit, just a smidgen about the doshas. Everyone has kind of gone through and looked at that and done that little quiz maybe and checked that portion out. For those of you who are newer to it, you might not have had a chance to look at it yet. Those of you who joined a couple weeks ago when I started, there was a lot of time to kind of go through it. So try not to be overwhelmed about it. Just sort of, do the little quiz and just notice. Okay. It's okay if you don't get to all of it, because there is a lot of content that's in there. I try to keep the videos short and simple so that it's not like I'm like blah, 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 blah for the whole time. And you're like, would you seriously like get to the freaking point, Roxanne? I try to keep it quicker if I can. So, because we tend to have a short attention span, right? And that's okay. It's all good. So in the group, you'll notice that there's the tags. If you didn't notice any of those tags, that's a super easy way to navigate to find your things, to find what you need, okay? Vata juices are under hashtag Vata juices. Facebook made it a hashtag now. Kapha juices, same thing. Pitta juices, same thing, okay? Then you have the hashtag doshas. So you'll find if you want to see more information, if you want to go back and look at all those videos again, you certainly can. Talks about the Vata dosha, what are the doshas, time of day, things like that, okay? And then anything extra that I put in. So all of the extra little tips, whatever it is, that's always going to be under juicing extras. So if you're wanting to find something, you can easily do it that way. You can also, in a Facebook group, not sure if you guys have checked this out a little bit, but if you go into a Facebook group, you're going to see like the little magnifying glass with the search spot. You can simply search a word that you remember. So let's say you want to find one of the beet juices. You can go into that search and you can type in beet. Okay. Or if you remember, Roxanne did a video about what not to eat before a cleanse or whatever. You can type in little keywords and that helps you to, oh, thanks, Greg. And that helps you to find things easier. Okay. Once we start the juice cleanse, every day I'm going to put a post and it's going to say day 1, my juices. Okay. So in the comments of that post, just post your juices. Post a picture of your juices. You can even write in there how you feel when you have those juices. You can say, I had the beet pomegranate juice and it was disgusting. Cool. Go ahead, put it in there. Okay. So post in that. So that one should stay at the top of the group because likely we're all going to be posting into it. But if it doesn't, I'm going to create another hashtag that'll be hashtag days of juicing or 5 days of juicing, something like that. You'll see it. Okay. And so that'll kind of help you if for some reason there's people looking at other posts and it kind of gets lost in there that day, that's okay. There'll be a hashtag so you guys can find that too. Okay.
Roxanne, can you still pin posts? Because sometimes they used to be able to pin it and it would stay at the top.
That part I'm gonna have to look at. Greg shakes his head yes, because he's taught me a crap ton about techie stuff in the last few years. So I'll talk to Greg and I'll find that out for sure. I know definitely though that you can do an announcement, right? So the announcement generally stays at the top, but sometimes it gets bumped down for some reason. But if you'll see the gray part announcements, then you'll know, because that's where the this Zoom link is always going to be in the announcements. You'll likely have to click on see more. But that's a good idea. I will look into that to pin. I'm going to make a note of that to pin the that post for each day. Thank you very much. Pin 5 juice post. Okay, cool. All right. So now I'm just going to move quickly for a little bit into the doshas. Okay. And the main thing that I'm going to talk about with the doshas is the qualities of each dosha. Now, when you did your quiz, right? Or you're listening to those videos, you were probably like, well, I kind of fall into Pitta a little bit, and then I fall into Kapha and I fall into Vata, right? So you're not always like you're one or the other. We all have all of those elements within us. All of those elements are on the earth. So you're going to be some type of ratio or some type of variation of those doshas. Okay. Did that part make sense? What that quiz essentially told you is the way that I explained for you guys to do it was how you might be out of balance right now. That's all it is. Okay. I can go into it a whole lot more if you guys are interested, but that would be part of my year coaching program. Okay. Where you're going to learn all kinds of other stuff. Okay. And we get deeper into food, deeper into digestion, deeper into lifestyle, things like that. But for we're just keeping it simple. How are you out of balance at the moment? That's all it is. Okay. So Ayurveda is said to be the goal of Ayurveda is just for us to feel happy and to feel well. That's it. It's simple. Who wants to feel happy? Who wants to feel well, right? I don't. No, just kidding. Right? We all kind of do, right? So that's all that the goal is. And it's like over 5,000 years old from India, but it focuses on the elements and it focuses on opposite treatment. Okay, so you've noticed in some of those videos, I've talked about something super simple. It's a hot day today, for example. It was a hot day. If you're out in the sun and it's too hot, you're working all day, it's too hot, what do you want to do? Cool down, right? So you might have a glass of really cold water or a glass of really cold beer, which is essentially liquid bread, which is wheat, which is heating. So it's kind of counterintuitive. But anyways, not going there. So essentially your intuition knows that the opposite treats, right? Hot treats cold. You get inflammation, you roll your ankle and your ankle is all inflamed and there's all kinds of heat, it's feeling hot. What do? You take an ice pack and you put the ice pack on top of your ankle, right? Yeah. It's wintertime, it's freezing cold, you put on a blanket or you put on your snowmobile suit to go outside. So you already do those opposites, right? But what we've essentially lost over the years is our ability to be aware of those and our ability to know what to do, because we get clouded from everything. Okay, we get clouded from life essentially. So here are some of the simple characteristics of each dosha and what the opposite of them would be. So the first one is, I always say it first, I don't know why, but it's vata. And vata simply means excess air. Okay, excess air. That's it. So what might a characteristic of air be? Anybody have any ideas? If you would categorize air in one word, what would you say? Air is, I'll give you a hint. Air is cold. Air can be cold, right? But you're like, no, but sometimes air can be warm. Yeah, but air generally is cold, okay? Air is dry. Air is moving. It's mobile, right? It's all over the place. It's like, you know, a super windy day, let's say, it can be erratic. It can be all over the place, okay? So the first part about air being cold, we've just said, right? When you're cold, you need to warm the body, okay? So if we're always eating cold foods excessively, meaning not cooking them, but also meaning air type colder foods, which is a lot of vegetables, a lot of greens, chips, things like that, then that creates more air in our body. So the opposite of being cold is warm. So we need the warmth. So how can we get warmth in with our food? Warm food, right? Cooking our food. Or simply just drinking warm tea, okay? Or using spices that are warming, that are heating. Anybody ever have super spicy wings? Or spicy wings, maybe not super spicy wings? Chicken wings? No. You can put your hands up if you want, you know? Okay, so nobody's had hot wings. Well, when you have hot wings, you get hot. Plain and simple, okay? So that heats you up. That's all it is. So it's gonna get you warm. So you already know. Can anybody think of a food, a specific type of food that would be hot? No? Okay. You're welcome to, like, if you can think of something, unmute yourself and just blurt it out. Okay.
Chili,
What?
chili,
Yeah, chilies. Yes, chilies are hot. What about cayenne pepper? Is that hot?
yes,
What about jalapenos? Are they hot?
yes.
Yeah, yes. There's a lot of things that are hot. Those are the obvious. Those are the obvious things that are hot. But did you know that wheat is hot? Wheat is heating. Okay. So eating a lot of wheat, eating a lot of bagels, let's say croissants, wraps,
Roxanne,
bread, things like that.
what about ginger? What about ginger? Does that fall into that category too?
Ginger is hot. Yes, it is. That's why there's a lot of ginger in quite a few of the Vata recipes, but also the Kapha recipes. Yes, correct. It is. So the wheat, back to the wheat is actually heating, but we don't realize it is heating. But you might notice that you get rashes on your arms, right? If you're eating excess of that, or you get like hives on your arms because it's heating, okay? So that's what we do when we're cold. Vata, we warm up, we need heat. Now vatas are, I'm just gonna give you the two. Vatas are dry as well. What do you do with your skin when it's dry? What do you tend to do?
Put lotion on.
Right. Yeah, we tend to put lotion on, right? And that's great. Does it maybe create some oilation within us? Possibly. It depends on the type of lotions that we're using, right? Generally though, lotions have all kinds of other stuff in them, right? So they might actually be clogging, they might be bulking. We might not actually truly absorb the lotions. So an easy way to really oil the body, because Vata it's highly seated in the colon. So if we have that dry colon, constipation, that's a big example that you have a dry colon, right? If you're only releasing your bowels every 4 days or so, Okay. Like that's a lot. You should be doing it every day. So if that's happening to you, then that's a dry system. So oil. Okay. I actually honestly just put oil on my skin. I use coconut oil on my skin because it's cooling, but it also helps with my pitta imbalance. Or if I'm a little cold, then I would use like olive oil or sesame oil or oil. Okay. And the oil actually absorbs into the skin. So the opposite of dry is oily. Anybody have oily foreheads or teenage kids with oily foreheads or oily hair, right? What do we want to do? Go and wash your hair. Your hair is too oily. You need it to be drier, right? But that oiling is a good thing. So the opposite of dry is oily. If we're too oily, we need to dry out. If we're too dry, we need oilation. We need oil. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. And we learn that as we go. It's totally cool. So the next one, that's Vata, keeping it simple. The next one is Pitta. And Pitta is the element of fire. A little bit of water. I'm not going to go there right now though, but fire, mostly excess fire. What is fire? Fire, number one, we first think of fire. Don't touch it because it is hot. Exactly.
Hot.
So fire is hot. So what treats hot? Right. we
Cold.
just- Exactly. Yes. What treats hot? Cold. Perfect. So we need calming. We need cooling. We might need more grounding foods. So should someone who is more off balance in Pitta, should they have a lot of jalapeno peppers, or chilies or cayenne or things like that? Possibly not, right?
No.
Right, because then they can get excess in that heat. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't ever have it. It's just not in excess, because like attracts like. So someone who is more of that fire might want more of those fire foods, and that's okay, just not in excess. That's all. And you'll know you're in excess. An example of knowing that you are a Pitta and you're in excess, quite simply, is your attitude. You might be very irritable, you might get angry easy, you might get frustrated easy. Those are very sharp attributes, or very sharp common characteristics of a Pitta. Okay. So another thing about Pitta is that Pitta is sharp, what I had just said. And how do we know that somebody is sharp? Those types of things that I just said, right? They're irritable, they're angry, you've heard of those people who are like quick tempered, the typical redhead, and I do those quotes because, that's just the way Leah's laughing, but it's true, right? That's what we hear. So when you are that way, what would we say to you? Just relax, just calm down, right? And that would fire you up even more. But things to balance that sharpness is being still a little bit, is maybe doing some meditations, things like that. Might be calming yourself, however it calms you, right? Maybe going for a swim, doing something more gentle, more lighter, right? So if you do something a little bit more excessive and jumping, then that can create more fire. So the opposite of sharp would be called dull. Okay. Dull, calming, dull. You think of calming, but in this sense, we'll call it dull. Dull is not a bad thing. We don't always want to be sharp, and we don't always want to be dull. Okay. And that moves into Kapha. Kapha is more earth and water. Earth and water is dull, is heavy. Or I'll move to heavy instead. Is heavy, right? So that might be the person who moves very slowly, right? Who is more of a couch potato, but they're also very loving too. Also very, very patient. So dull is a good thing, right? But if they're always heavy, and some of you guys have said that in here, that you feel heavy, that you feel sluggish. Those are characteristics of Kapha, okay? So what's the opposite of heavy? Anybody want to say? The opposite of heavy is light. Yes. Renee, did you figure out how to change your name? Oh, that's awesome. Yes, the opposite of heavy is light. Perfect. Okay, you guys got it. So heavy. What types of foods do you think might be heavy? Think for a moment about when I eat this, I feel blah. When I eat this, I feel sluggish. Yeah. Starches. Yep. Yep. Stews are more heavy. Yeah, for sure. And stews can be heavy because of the meat. Meat is heavy. Meat is slower in the system. Yeah. Chili would be like, yeah, meats. Yeah. Meats are heavy. Any type of sweets are heavy, right? I'm not talking about fruits though, things like that. Those are nourishing sweets. They could be a little bit heavier, but they're still nourishing and they're cooling. But maybe more of like, grandma's cookies or the cake. Those types of things are heavier. Foods that are preservatives, right? So like crackers, things like that, those can be heavy as well. Things that are packaged because we don't know what's in them, right? So things, it's going to move, it's going to go in your body, but it's going to be broken down much slower. So those are heavy foods. And how can we balance that? By eating more lighter foods. You eat a salad for lunch, and do you feel lighter or do you feel heavier? You feel lighter, right? We might feel lighter depending on how much we ate, depending on what's in our salad, right? If it's just got a pile of meat and stuff, but we tend to feel lighter when we eat more vegetables, when we eat more rich nutrient and vitamin and mineral dense foods. So the opposite of heavy is light, okay? So an example, all of the juices, a lot of the kapha juices have greens, have some form of green because they are drying and because they are lighter. So they help with kapha oiliness. That's the second one. So kaphas are oily, okay? They need to be oily because that's when we grow. Oily is nourishing. Oily is satiating. Oily is good. Oily is what we need when we grow, for sure, okay? And to create that sort of substance within us, essentially. And so we know the opposite of oily. We learned that in vata, which is you have really oily skin, really oily hair. What to balance it out? You use dry, right? Dry balances oily. Okay, cool. So there can be a lot to learn, a lot to know about food. But the main thing about all of this, about this juice cleanse, about Ayurveda, about everything that I sort of experience and bring to you guys is that it is experiential, right? So it's, what are you experiencing? Because I might have an avocado and a banana type smoothie, okay? And to me, it feels very nourishing, but I don't feel heavy because maybe I am more fire and more air at the moment and very light. So that is nourishing and that is grounding to me. Okay. But you might also be off in the pitta and the vata, for example, and you have that same smoothie, but it reacts differently with you, right? So what might work for me might not work for you because all of our ratios are different. Okay. So that's the main thing. Notice how you feel when you're consuming each juice, when you're consuming each smoothie. Notice what you're craving at each time of day too. So that's gonna be a key. That's gonna help you out. So if you've printed up the PDF or if I've given you the workbook, under each recipe, there's always a spot there that has how did this juice make you feel, and then some notes. Because underneath, there's been some foods that have bothered a few of you that you already know. I can't have beets, I can't have ginger, I can't have avocado, whatever it is, right? So do you have to have it just because it's in the recipe? No, because it's not agreeing with you for some reason. So follow that intuition, listen to yourself and notice, okay, this doesn't feel right for me. So maybe I'll try something else. And a lot of you have been putting that in all of the comments anyways. You've been saying, look, I can't have this. This doesn't agree with me. What can I do? right? So that's going back to checking out all the comments and stuff. Cool. Okay. So I don't want to talk your ear off about that because I could literally, quite literally, you might lose an ear, but I won't. So all of that, those little mini tips sort of being said in there. Do you guys have any questions about any of that, about any of the doshas so far, or just the little, you know, the opposite treatment essentially? Okay. Okay, cool. If you do have questions, shoot them whenever you have questions. It's all good. So now we'll move on to the juice cleanse and your plan. What are your questions? Because I know you got some questions. I know I've been answering a lot in the group, which is super fun for me. But does anybody in here have any particular questions that they would like to ask? Because if you have a question, other people might have other questions. Okay, so can I read your question, Tanya? Yeah, okay. Okay, so oops, that went away because I clicked on participants and not chat. 1 second, here we go, boom, okay. Okay, so I am fearful that I will choose the wrong juice. Okay, so if you choose the wrong juice, Greg, you did it at the same time. If you choose the wrong juice, then you'll know after you drink it, you won't feel so great. So then I suggest you put a comment in there and say, this was not the juice for me. That's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we know that it might not be the juice for us, right? Is that helpful? I mean, in other words, it's okay to choose the wrong juice because you won't know unless you experience it. Is that okay? Because I don't know what the right juice is for you. And I don't know what the wrong juice is for you. You do, you know, you'll figure it out. We will learn, okay. So Devin, can I read your question? Is everybody afraid to talk on? No, just kidding, it's all good. Okay, so Devin says, should we actually make a time schedule on a template or wait for our body to say we are hungry for the next juice? That is a great question. What you can do is an example, if you want to create a plan, right? So let's say you decide I'm going to have a juice every 3 hours. You have your juice at 8 a.m. Then 11 a.m. rolls around and you're hungry, so you have your juice. And then 2 p.m. rolls around and you're like, I'm just not hungry. Do you have to have your 2 p.m. juice? No. So my answer to that would be play it by ear. Set up a plan first so that you have that plan in place, right? If you're kind of just going by the cusp of it, just sort of flying by the seat of your pants, let's say, then you might think, well, I'm not hungry because I'm used to not eating all day long. But then your trigger time is 6 p.m. and I'm going to eat all this junk, right? So it'd be a good idea to set yourself up with a plan. And then when it comes to that time, if you're not hungry, then that's okay. Then honor that and you don't have to consume it. Also, you might find 8 a.m. you can't start at 8 a.m. That's okay. Start your juice at 10 a.m. if you like. You also might notice that 8 p.m. rolls around and you like, I know myself, I'm not going to have a juice at 8 p.m. because I tend to not eat at night. So I'm not going to, right? So if one day you want that juice at 8 p.m., then have it. If the next day you're not hungry and you don't need it, then that's okay. Is that helpful, Devin? And everyone else?
Yes, thank you. Very.
Okay, you're welcome. So the next one is from Renee. Don't kick me. No, just kidding. AKA don't kick me. That's going to stick. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So she says, not sure how much to drink. Okay. So every 3 hours, every 4 hours, how long is the juice good for if you skip it? Because I'm making the juices the night before. Okay, cool. Good question. So maybe start by how often do you generally eat throughout the day? Right? Like you might be one that is generally more vata imbalances. They need to eat more often, right? And then more kapphas, they might not. And so that's okay. So maybe just sort of set that up first and say, if you're a person that always has breakfast, lunch, and supper, then you could certainly try every 4 hours. If you are using a blender, then you're going to get a lot more of the fiber. You're going to get a lot more of you're getting all of it, like, right? So actually take the seeds out though. Sorry, should let you guys know, because I don't think I did in any of the posts. If you're doing like pears and apples and things like that, don't throw the seeds in, just do everything else. So if you are using a blender, then you most certainly might not be thirsty for juice every 2 hours, right? If you're using a juicer, then you might feel like you're satiated every couple hours, right? So notice how you feel. Again, set yourself up with that plan, maybe every 3 hours if that works better for you, every 4. You have to fit it into your day, right? And then how long are the juices good for? Essentially, fresh is definitely the best. Let's say you make juices the night before. I make 5 juices for my following day, and I only drink 3 of my juices. Are those 2 juices good for the day after? Yes, they can be for sure. Essentially, they're good up to about 3 days because it's fresh, right? What I invite you to do though is notice how it tastes, because on the fresh day, it might taste really good. 3 days later, it might taste bleh. And if it tastes bleh, that's an indication that it's probably not okay, right? It's not going to poison you, but it just might taste stale. Okay. So next day, if you don't have it on this day and you want to have it the next day, then it should be okay. Test it out. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Renee. Cool. Is that helpful? Yay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Alethea, I can read it. Okay. Oh, Greg said, Alethea said, okay. Should we be choosing a variety of juices to drink each day? Should we be changing up the juices we drink over the 5 days? Not sure if you respond to this. Yes, cool. So I did respond to it in one of the comments, but that's okay. It's all good because there's a lot of comments in there. There's a lot going on. So variety is the spice of life. Okay, that's why I put in all of the mock plans a variety, right? There's green juices, there's carrot juices, there's beet juices, there's that. When we consume, let's say, for example, I noticed there was a lot of people who seemed to enjoy the coconut banana one, I think it was. If you're going to take that coconut banana one and you're going to drink that all the time, all day for 1 day, and then all day the next day, and then all day to the next day, that's going to create an excess of something because you're always getting the same things, right? Who always eats the same foods all year long, every day? You know, I have eggs every single day, or I have this every single day, right? It creates an imbalance. So here's the example of why. The earth provides all of our food, right? But does it provide pumpkins in the spring? No, they don't grow in the spring, right? Do blueberries grow in the winter? They don't grow in the winter. So the earth has already said to us, variety is good. We need that variety through the seasons. We need the variety through the times of day, through the times of year, right? So a variety in your juices is a really, really great idea for sure. What type of variety you'd like to do is completely up to you. There are 30 separate juices, right? So you could essentially have a different juice every time you juice throughout like the whole week, right? If you're having your banana juice every day at noon for 5 days, does that mean that it's not variety? No, because you'll be getting more variety, right? Yeah, variety is the key. Exactly. Wink. It's a good thing. Okay. Cool. Where did people find coconut? There's coconut at No Frills. I saw it there just the other day when I was there. But if you can't find the coconut, and I believe I posted this, that I wrote it within that one recipe, you can use coconut milk. So you can either use coconut milk, like the coconut silk milk or whatever. The unsweetened is usually good. That stuff's watered down quite a bit. So you could use that if you like. You can also use canned coconut milk. That is going to be very nutrient dense and very filling. So you could use that as well. Okay. Yeah, the coconut and banana was yummy. Cool. Julie, thank you. Bye, Julie. She's already gone now. And variety is key. Cool. All right. Any other questions? It's fun. It's like I'm playing it's like we're playing like Jeopardy or something. No, I'm kidding. Get to read everybody's comments. Frozen coconut. Yeah, so there was in the juicing extras, if you check out, there's a video, frozen versus fresh fruit. So there's a video on that, but you most certainly can use coconut frozen. I don't know if like, do they have frozen coconuts in, oh yeah, okay, see, I've never seen that. Wow, okay, cool. Yeah, no froze. So you can use frozen coconuts if you like, for sure. The goal of Ayurveda is for us to feel well and be well, right? And it's creating, so it's building our immune system through fresh food, right? So fresh food is going to be give you more pranic value. Prana is energy, okay? So it'll give you more energy. So if you are using the frozen stuff, you might find that it doesn't taste as strong, and that's okay. If you want to use it, by all means, go right ahead. Fresh is generally best, but do whatever works best for you. Notice how you feel when you have it. So what you could do is get some frozen coconut, get some fresh coconut, and notice if there's a difference too. If you really want to experiment and goof around. I'm not sure about frozen coconut either, like what the consistency would be. Generally, when you put the frozen fruit in like a blender, it gets really, really thick, right? So, okay, so Tanya, how do I start? I mean, is there 30-ish juice recipes? Yeah. So in there, Tanya, so I know Tanya, you just joined not too long ago. So do the dosha thing. I think that you did though, right? I believe that you did in the group. Okay, so it'd be in the Facebook group. You'll see it in the Facebook group. There's also the quiz in that book too. Yes. So once you do that little quiz in the book, okay, your numbers, you'll have a higher number in one of them. Okay. So then from there, to do your plan, what you can do is you can do, let's say, for example, you are more vata off. Okay. Your vata is in balance. Your vata is much higher. You can simply just make your juice recipes based on all of the vata recipes, all of those 10 recipes. You can certainly do that. That's quite easy, okay? And there's a variety in there. There's 10 different ones. You can also do, let's say day 1 is going to be all vata juices. Day 2 is going to be maybe a variety of all of them. Because as you look through the book, you might find some that look interesting and that look good, right? And if you want to add them into your plan, go right ahead. Okay, is that helpful? Yeah, okay, cool. Basically, you're just kind of, you can just easily look at your book and then be like, oh, I like this juice here, I like this juice here, right? And so I'm gonna kind of go through and do that too. So you can make it so that it works for you. Cool? Okay, okay. Any other questions? Shannon, do you have a question or you're just poking at your thing? No. Greg says no questions. Okay, cool.
Yes, I do have a question. I'm trying to poke the thing.
Okay. Unmute. Okay.
I'm just wondering if, like, I'm just looking at like the category I'm under and it has 4 juices a day.
Yep.
Can you drink more than that?
Yeah.
Or less based on whether you're hungry or not? Like, am I going to be hungry all day? You know what I mean? That
Yep.
type of thing.
Yep, for
Okay.
sure. For sure. And I'll tell you, that's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. So I'll tell you why I essentially did it for that way. Okay. Because kapha, you said yours is 4 every day. So you're excess in kapha, right? Or 4 every hour. Sorry.
Yeah.
The reason being is that kaphas have tendencies towards heaviness, right? So they can experience diseases of excess, and excess means too much, right? So what we need for excess is to remove some, right? Is to feel lighter. If you're feeling heavy, you need to feel lighter. So we wouldn't have a juice every 2 hours, because then that's just putting more and more and more and more and more in, right? So the idea behind putting the Kapha one, a juice every 4 hours, is so that there's that time in between for digestion and for things to kind of move and flow. There's quite a bit of green juices too for a Kapha. There's all of the juices too are heating, because Kapha is also cold, more stagnant. So you need that heating, you need that warming, right? But like you said, Shannon, that I believe it was your Pitta as well. Was it the Pitta as well that was also very close? You said, oh, I thought it was this one, but
I think Vata.
okay. Either Pitta or Vata, all good. So you'll notice that, yes, you might be a little bit more Kapha right now, but some of those Vata recipes might work for you too, right? So what you could easily do is do day 1, a juice every 4 hours, day 2, a juice every 3 hours, day 3, a juice every 4 hours. You can flop that around. You're right, based on if you're feeling hungry, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So Greg had just mentioned too that being a little bit more Vata is air, and so air types have a tendency towards diseases of deficiency. They're lacking, right? So even simply put, your skin is dry, you're lacking oil. Often Vatas are iron deficient. You're missing vitamin B, specific vitamins, right? So certainly more grounding, more satiating stuff is in there. That's why in the Vata juices, most of them are very smoothie-like. So avocado in there and bananas in there and things like that, because they're nourishing, they're grounding, they're going to help put substance in where you're lacking. Okay. That being said too, as far as the Vata thing, I'm going to go in there just a little bit too. So Vata types. Now, if you're experiencing a lot of Vata symptoms, which might be IBS, like irritable bowel, gas, bloating, things like that on a very regular basis, my suggestion is to really stick more with those Vata style juices and smoothies. But you also might want to have lunch, like food for lunch, okay? But have something that's nourishing, have something that's a little more wet, maybe like a rice dish, like a rice bowl, like a rice Buddha bowl or something like that, because your system is a lot more sensitive, right? So be mindful of that for sure. Does that make sense? Is that okay for everybody? So notice how you feel if you're having a lot of those symptoms. And I know there was a few of you who had mentioned that as well. Okay. So Lisa says, do we prep a certain way the day before? And can you elaborate on that, Lisa? No? Oh, there she is. You can elaborate, like either by unmuting or commenting. It's up to you. I'm just wondering, what do you mean by prep a certain way? You're muted. I wish I could unmute you. Ask to unmute there.
So Rox, do
Okay, I
you
think I
have
got it.
juice?
Okay, 1 second, Lisa. Sorry. Yeah. go
Can you
ahead.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, just like, is there stuff that we should eat or should not eat the day before? Just out of curiosity.
Okay. So I just did a video on that. Oh my God, was that today? I think it was today.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
It's all good. No, it's all good. So that's in Juicing Extras, but so I'll go there. Things that you might not want to eat starting now and the days before is a whole lot of crappy junk food, because you're going to feel like poop when you start doing the juice cleanse, right? If you've ever done an extended fast, or if you've ever done any other type of cleanse before, or if you're trying to quit coffee, things like that, you get symptoms, right? You might have headaches, you might have, you might feel a little dizzy, or you might feel irritable, your stomach might hurt, things like that, right? So it's going to be really hard going into a juice cleanse when you're feeding your body full of junk, full of chip stand, full of burgers, of chips, of whatever, right? But it tends to be, and what's interesting, and I've done this before, like we've probably all done this. I've done extended fasts where I ate well before I fasted, and fasting was a lot easier. I've done an extended fast where I ate like crap before, and fasting was a lot harder because you're very irritable, okay? Because your body wants that junk because it's not satiated. It's not satiating, right? You're having all of those empty carbs. And I'm not talking about carbs like rice and grains and beans and all of that, because those are good carbs. There's very good carbs. But I'm talking more about the starches, the fake foods, the prepared foods, the breads, the things like that, right? There's no vitamins, minerals, nourishing foods for us, right? So then we're just wanting more and more and more, and our body's thinking, well, I'm not getting what I'm needing yet, so I'm just going to eat more, right? So it's going to be really hard if you do that. So what I suggest to do is to be more mindful of what you're eating from now on.
Yeah.
For the weekend.
Basically
right?
eat well.
Yeah, just try to eat better. Exactly. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you have chip stand one day on the weekend, that's okay. But I'm just saying not okay. We're going to have pizza tonight, and then we're going to have, eggs and bacon and sausage and all that for breakfast. And then for lunch, we're going to have Mr. Sub. And then for supper, we're going to have the chip stand again. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Yeah, no.
and then a bag of chips and then a couple bottles of wine and all that. It's going to be hard.
So I can't have wine? No.
Yeah. You can do whatever you like.
It's going to be an awful weekend.
Yeah,
No.
I know. No, you can certainly
No.
do what you want. However, it might be a little harder if you overindulge. But psychologically, we might tend to, because we think that we're depriving ourselves of something, right? We might think, okay, I'm going to load up on all of this junk food, or I'm going to load up on all of this food because for the next week I'm going to be starving. But you might be pleasantly surprised on the juice cleanse. You might be getting some valuable vitamins and minerals that you have not been getting with your food. And so you might feel more satisfied and more full, right? So you'll see as you go, which will be a lot of fun. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. So Leah, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
So if you're like me and you have that lunch, you skip your juice for that afternoon, then you don't have your juice with your lunch then, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, and just have some water. Yep, definitely. And the reason that I say eat your food at lunchtime is also because Ayurvedically, there's those doshas, the pitta, the vata, the air, the fire, the earth, and water. They're also excess in specific times of year, and they're also in excess in specific times of day. Okay. So lunchtime is the pitta time of day. Lunchtime is the fire time of day. So that's actually the time of day to eat the most. Because our digestive system is in full force, it's doing what it needs to do. The sun is the hottest in the middle of the day, right? Even on gloomy days, it's still the hottest, the middle of the day. So that's the perfect time to eat more food. So we should actually be eating a bigger lunch and a smaller supper. But that's just weird, right? Why would you do that? But Ayurvedically, that's why. So if you start to kind of flop that around, then you might notice a big difference in your digestion. After 6 p.m., from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night, that's the kapha time of day. And we remember kapha is what? Kapha is heavy. Kapha is slow. So if we're eating a lot, and we tend to eat, maybe meats and potatoes and all kinds of stuff, if we're eating a lot, then that's the time of day when our body should be resting and digesting, not getting a pile of food to digest.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Greg, were you going to say something? You were like waving at me, or were you waving bye to Tanya?
I was waving bye to Tanya.
Okay. Tanya's got to run. Thank you. You're welcome. Welcome. Okay. Being Vata is the opposite, need more grounding. Yes, you did. You said that. Okay, cool. Does anybody else have any more questions along? Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
I'm just wondering, does this mean no coffee?
Well, there's a video on that too. No, there's like, no, that's awesome. There's videos and everything, but no, I love it. It's cool. So it's funny because I was having a conversation with my husband. And I can never give him like the straight yes or no answer. It's like, well, right? So I'm going to do the same thing for coffee. Coffee is a stimulant, okay? It's a diuretic, so it's going to be drying. So for you, Shannon, because you might be a little more kapha, you might be a little more dry, the stimulation and the drying might not be a bad thing. Okay. However, because it is a stimulant and because it is drying, then for those who are more vata and more pitta, it might be a good idea to kind of hold off if you can for the whole 5 days, right? So the coffee thing is obviously completely up to you. How do you tend to drink your coffee?
Just 2 cream.
2 cream. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you could always try it just for fun. And cream is heating, it's warming too, but it's also mucus forming, mucus building. Okay. And kaphas have tendency towards building mucus, excess fat stores. So what you could do is flop your cream, which it might taste weird at first, but you could flop your cream for like a non-dairy cream or something, coconut milk even, if you want. Yeah, if you wanted to. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Lisa, are you gonna say
Is
something?
tea better in the morning?
Tea? Yeah, you can have
Yeah.
tea for sure. Yeah. Yeah, tea is
Okay.
great. Especially if you're feeling like, if you're feeling off and you want to feel a little more grounded, like a nice green tea or some would be good for sure.
Okay.
Tea, water. You're getting lots of water from all of your fruits and all of your veggies. So you might not even feel like you need to drink water, really, but that's up to you. Okay. Did you have a question, Lisa, too, or no? Okay. Awesome. All right. So we got Alethea here still. We got Shannon, Renee, Devin, Amanda, Aaron, Michelle, Sylvie, Leah, Greg, Lisa. I think I said everybody. How is everybody feeling? Do we have more questions? Do we feel like we're okay? We're not too bad. Yeah?
Hey,
Okay.
Ready to
Roxanne.
go.
Hey, Roxanne,
Yes.
Renee.
Yes.
I just asked the question. So I was just hearing someone mention that they're having a lunch, so we can eat things other than juicing. I'm like,
Renee, and the example for that was if you are more, the idea is to do a juice cleanse for 5 days, just juice. That's it, right? Or your like smoothie juices, okay? But the lunch idea was for those individuals who have a like pretty big vata symptoms, meaning gas, bloating, irritable, very, very irritable bowels, right? So let's say you eat something and you're running to the bathroom and it's like water coming out, or you're just like IBS or Crohn's or diverticulitis, things like that. Okay. So if you have any of those types of symptoms, that is a very sensitive, lower digestive system, then definitely having like a lunch, but like a good, more hearty lunch, even just like a rice lunch. And I can give you a really great recipe for a nice khichdi rice dish that you can certainly have for lunch. It's very, very soothing. Might feel good. Okay, cool, Renee? Yeah, I think so.
yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, Lisa.
No, I just have to go.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Thanks for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Cool. Okay. These are the information.
Thanks, Rox.
Yeah, cool. So thank you guys so much. We're gonna have another meeting on Monday on our first day. If you're enjoying all of the content that I'm putting in there, all the information that I'm putting in there, just let me know. If there are more things that you want to know, put it in there because I got a whole wealth of stuff to share. So, but it's gonna be very slow. If you want even more, then you can join me for a year. No, okay. All right. Are we cool?
Can you post that recipe, Rox?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
I'll
Okay.
definitely post that over the weekend for sure and put that blip in there about this is who it's for.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Right. Thank you, everybody.